I'll use the occasion today to reinvigorate the discussion about Ukraine, to remind the importance of why we are talking about Ukraine, why we are seeking Ukrainian victory in the battle against the invading Russia. One of the arguments that could be used, because we see that the attention towards the question is definitely less than it was 2 years ago. It might even be less than a year ago. So one of the arguments that I would be using is that if for nothing else, if we don't see Ukraine as a vital issue, then we have to be reminded that Ukraine is fighting not just for itself, but also for Europe. And I mean it not in a rhetorical sense, but in a very practical sense. Ukraine currently is containing aggressive, expansionist Russia within its territory. Hopefully they would be able to contain it outside its territory. But if they're unsuccessful, we have to be ready to answer the question, who will contain Russia then? And there's nothing else who could contain Russia apart from NATO and apart from the countries who are closest to Russia. And that means also my country, that means Poland, that means other countries on the eastern flank. And so it's a battle of self-preservation as well for Europe. And I'm hopeful, as always, coming in this palace, that even though we're talking about fatigue, even though we're talking about the lack of attention, that it's possible to reinvigorate the discussion.
The fact that the Baltic countries are building a defense line, is this, I don't know, a show of mistrust against the other Europeans as well?
No, I think that it also serves as a political message. Some of it I've mentioned in my previous statement. Now, we do feel the war close to us. We understand that if Russia is not stopped in Ukraine, it could continue. And then it's Baltic states who would be next. So it's not mistrust, it's actually preparing for what could come next. And hopefully this could send a message enough to our friends and partners in Europe, in NATO, that we have to take this seriously. And if you listen, there have been, for last month, messaging from Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Norway, Sweden, Poland. Every single country is saying that we have a very limited time to prepare. If Russia is not stopped, we will be those who will be stopping Russia next. So I think that this is what you're seeing.
Minister, could you provide us, please, with the specific details, as we hear from military officials, indeed, that, for example, German Minister of Defense is saying that this country has from 3 to 5 years at its disposal in order to prepare for the worst scenario. According to you, how much time would you say you really have?
Sorry. Look, nobody has a timeline for Russia's madness. We don't know, right? So many things depend on a couple of factors. First of all, first factor is Ukrainian success and Ukrainian victory. If they're successful, they're buying us time. Ukraine is buying us time with their blood, with their lives, with everything that they've got. And how much time can they buy? We don't know. We're hoping with everything that we're doing here that they can win. But if they could not, then we have to question ourselves whether we have used the time that was bought efficiently. So German minister is saying, one time frame. We in the Baltic countries, we talk that first of all, it's about us, right? How much time can we give ourselves in order to prepare? So in Lithuania, we started a discussion when it comes to returning of universal conscription, going to even further. This year, we will have a defense spending for 2.77, so 2.77% of our GDP will go to defense. We're planning to go even beyond that. These are not the easy questions, but basically we feel that we need to answer those because, we might be running short of time.
Minister, there's been some concerns that on a bilateral basis, some countries are doing more than others, or some maybe aren't pulling their weight in terms of financial, military aid to Ukraine. Is that a concern that you share or something you see?
Look, some are saying, imagine the world where Europe would be at war. We in the Baltics were saying, look, Europe is already at war. and the whole of it. It's not just, that some of it. It's not just, that Germany is, is providing, big amounts of assistance, and it's, Germany somehow closer to it. It's Europe. So we have to have this shared understanding that we are in this together. Those who are close to the war, those who are further geographically, but if we don't understand the repercussions right now, unfortunately, we might be forced to one day if Putin's aggression continues.
But Gaza is higher on the agenda today. Don't you think it's important?
It is important. It is important. But I'm here to remind that Ukraine's war of liberation is existential for Europe. This is about our existence. So it's difficult to compare. But, this is where we feel the chill of the war on our necks.
How do you assess Borrell's new proposal on the European?
Look, we've always, from the first discussions when we've seen that the debate is stalling, that we can no longer agree on the new tranche. Lithuania was adamant that we need to find a solution to go forward. We have to have a European solution that would be that would provide a possibility for countries, small countries like mine, to participate in common purchasing of equipment to Ukraine. We have to have an instrument. This time for Ukraine. Tomorrow it might be needed for us as well.
The escalation in the Middle East today will be one of the topics also. Could you tell me specific, are you going to talking about what exactly?
Well, look, the whole thing is that Europe geographically is probably one of the closest geopolitical actors to the Middle East conflict there is. And we have to take it very seriously as well as a geopolitical actor if we want to be taken seriously anywhere else in the world. So I expect that we would be talking about the path toward the de-escalation and peace. I think that two-state solution would be a very important subject. I think that this is where Europe agrees. We have a common position, but we also have to make it practical. How does it happen? And what is Europe's role in this? And we have to have a role in this. That would be my point.
Do you think Iranian regime behind most of the conflict in the Middle East because they have so many militia in the other country in the Middle East and right now supporting Hamas also?
Yeah.
Do you think it's better if you invite the Iranian regime also to be here?
Well, we personally look. Iran is also involved in Ukraine, right? They're building, as far as we know, they're building factories in Russia, in Belarus, to produce drones that would be used not in Middle East. It would be used against the countries in my region. So from the very first day when we found out that Iranian drones are being used against Ukraine, we said Iran has to be sanctioned. The materials cannot be exported to Iran that are used to produce the drones. That was the position since day one. It has not changed. If there's something added to that, so the sanctions have to be increased. Thank you.
Concerning the mission to the Red Sea, Lithuania, from your perspective, what will be the scope of the mandate? So what will be seen and what will definitely not be?
It's difficult to tell. Let's wait after the debate.
Can a two-state solution be imposed on Israel, possibly by removing trade barriers?
I don't know, impose. At first, honestly, it has to be shown how many countries in the world are behind the concept. And maybe that could be used as an argument. If there's an overwhelming majority in the world, despite all the differences that we have on so many other questions, that this has to happen. Maybe that would send a message enough. Thank you so much.
Does that have any effect on Netanyahu apparently so far? Because there are already a lot of...
Well, we'll have a chance to ask the questions today. Thank you so much.